So, four common reasons why people believe in God. It is DUST: desires, unknown fears, social pressure, traditions, and rituals. There was a college where many students were studying. One of the students there was a avowed atheist. From day one, he used to tell, "I'm an atheist." Uh, However, on the day of campus placements, he had put a tilak. So another boy, he caught him and he asked him, "You have been propagating that you are an atheist all this time, all these years. Why today on the day of campus placement interviews, you are sporting a tilak?" So he said that I have just come to know that the interviewer is wearing a tilak. So just to make a good impression on him, I am also putting a tilak. You know what? I really need this job. If there is any God, let me make him happy, let him help. This is the one. So because of our desires, God is our, we have a list of desires, and God's only job description is to fulfill those desires. It's just like we have a laundry list. Similarly, we have a laundry list of desires, and God is meant to just fulfill those desires. So that's our situation. Because of various desires, various people believe in God. Now there is something called as unknown fears, because of which people believe in God. There was a doctor. He invested 12 lakh rupees to open his clinic. And he was an atheist. And he invited us also. So when we went, I was a little surprised why he has invited us. He's an atheist. When we went there, I saw he has organized some homa, some puja, and some sankirtan is going on. I said, "What are you doing? You are an atheist. Why did you do all this?" He said, "See, anyways I have spent 12 lakhs to open this clinic. Let me spend another 40,000. If there is God, He'll be happy and He'll not trouble me." So this is called as unknown fears. Sometimes because of unknown fears, people believe in God. Another reason why people believe in God is the social pressure. You will see today, yesterday was Ganesh Chaturthi. So many places the Ganesha deity was put up. And what are people doing around the Ganesha deity? They are dancing like crazy. And there is a song, "Deva ho Deva, Ganapati Deva, तुमसे बढ़कर कौन, और तुम्हारे भक्तों में हमसे बढ़कर कौन." This is the mood. Now many people, they really have no desire to do all that, but out of social pressure, in that gully, in that mohalla, in that lane, 20 people danced. So when the deity comes to our lane, 30 people should dance. Out of social pressure. Now, I'm talking about a good social pressure, where people are dancing like crazy. Without any reason, almost. There is social pressure these days to go to bars, pubs, discotheques, start living in co-live PGs, smoke out of peer pressure, etc. So one of the reasons why people believe in God is social pressure. I remember I was working with one person, and I asked him, "How did you spend your New Year?" He said that I went to the bar, I drank, I did all nonsense. I said, "Why did you do that? You could have organized a better way to celebrate New Year." He said, "My friends went, so I also went." So sometimes out of social pressure, people believe in God. Everybody in my family is believing in God, so I also believe in God. And then traditions and rituals. We have various traditions in our family. Parampara. From many, many years, this parampara is going on. This tradition is going on. Parents don't tell us why we are doing what we are doing. So therefore, this Indian system of education, when it makes us, when it slaughters our spiritual inquiry in the schools and colleges, then we start questioning these rituals and traditions. And when our parents are not able to give answer to these queries, we give up those traditions and rituals. Some people continue. My father was doing so I will also do. Some people don't continue. So these are some of the reasons. Desires, unknown fears, social pressure, traditions and rituals. These are some of the reasons why people believe in God generally. But my question is, if somebody is not believing in God, does God cease to exist? Let's say I don't believe in God. That means God doesn't exist. Is it correct? Whether I believe in God, whether I don't believe in God, whether I follow God, whether I don't follow God, God exists. If I spend a lifetime of God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, then great spiritual wealth and great life is awaiting me with Krishna, with God. But let's say I don't believe in God, don't follow the laws of material nature, I do not follow the Bhagavad Gita. In that situation, according to the laws of material nature, the difficulties which I will face next life is also going to be too much. So the divine words of the founder Acharya, he summarizes this faith in a very nice way. He says, religion without philosophy is sentimental or fanaticism. I hope people are seeing at the PPTs. I've circulated. If you have opened them, then you will be able to follow. Religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. Don't you agree with this? If there is a religion which has no philosophy, then it is just a sentiment. We don't know why we are doing what we are. And if there is a philosophy, and if it is not connected to God, then it is just mental speculation. We are doing some adjustment. Okay. So the point which I am trying to say that blind acceptance of religion and blind rejectance of religion, both are equally foolish. So if you accept God blindly, you are foolish. And if you reject God blindly, you are foolish. We have to ask questions. And we have to understand the science of God consciousness. Okay. I think again television is coming up. Very good. Makes mind life simple. Let me know once it is ready. Ejected and pulled back. Sorry for the technical difficulties today. Did it work? This wire is not proper. See, when I'm connecting, I'm able to get sound. Let me still detect. Okay. Yes. So I was saying that blind acceptance and blind rejection of God both are equally foolish. Now the next topic which we are going to discuss today is scientific proof of God's existence. Some of the scientific proofs are, in fact, I am not going to give proofs from the Vedic literature. I am going to give proofs based on universal logic. Somebody may say, I don't believe in this Vedas, I don't believe in the scriptures. Prove it logically to me. So I have included this logical section. See, Lord, creation implies creator, laws imply a lawmaker, organization implies an organizer, and design implies a designer. Creation implies a creator. Now tell me, who has invented the telephone? Alexander Graham Bell. What do you say when you pick up a phone? Telephone.
Hello.
Did you know that Alexander Graham Bell, when he made the first call, his wife was on the other side, and the wife's name was Hello. And that's why he had said hello. But that became a tradition. We are calling the name of someone else's wife before every discussion. If we chant the name of Krishna, it is so much beneficial. By chanting hello, I don't think anybody will get any spiritual benefit. So therefore, I recommend that whenever you start a conversation, say Hare Krishna instead of hello. Makes sense. Who invented the electric bulb? You have to raise your hand and answer. Yes. Thomas Alva Edison. Who invented the telescope?
Galileo.
Very good. Steam engine?
Einstein.
Wrong.
Sorry.
Who invented the steam engine? Yes.
James Watt.
Did you check online just now? Oh, very good. Okay. Now the question is, I'll tell you a short incident. One of the world famous scientists, Isaac Newton, he made a solar model one day. Many levers, many mechanical arrangements so that all the planets they move in an orbit. Sorry, I put my leg down. It's paining me. He called one of his atheist scientist friend. For your information, FYI, Isaac Newton was a believer in God, firm believer in God, as well as a scientist. But most of the scientists, they say if you have to become a scientist, you have to become a disbeliever in God. That's their understanding. So he called his atheist friend and he showed him this atheist scientist friend and he showed him this solar model, which was kept in the room. The atheist scientist friend was very much appreciating it. He was saying, wow, so nicely you have made, so nicely it is reflecting around the sun. So nice, minute details he is observing and congratulating. And then he said, who made it? So Einstein said that today morning, when I came in this room, the cupboard fell down. And then the cupboard was heavy, I could not lift. So I went to do my other duties. And when I came back in this room again, the solar model was there. It just came out of nowhere. One cupboard fell down, one big blast happened, one bang happened. And the solar model came out of it. So the atheist scientist friend said, are you joking? How is it possible that something so minute, so intricate can come up on its own? So at that time Isaac Newton commented that if you cannot believe that this simple solar model cannot come on its own, how can you believe that the entire universe and the entire solar system came on its own? Logical? How many of you believe that the telephone came on its own? One big blast happened and telephone came on its own. Can you believe this? When you see this mobile, what is the first question comes to your mind?
Connectivity.
Sorry?
Connectivity.
Who's the manufacturer? If I say nobody has manufactured this phone, it came on its own, it came from the sky like this. Will you believe? But isn't it very strange that people believe that the entire universe came from a big bang? All the peacock feathers, all the beautiful ragas, all the seasons, all the different kinds of conceptions which the human mind is going through. The whole existence came from a big bang. Does it make sense? A normal pot cannot come on its own. If there is a pot, that means there is a pot. You cannot see the pot, maybe, but the pot is there. You can guess. Similarly, when you go to see a puppet show, you are not able to see the puppeteer. But because the puppets are dancing, this means that the puppeteer is there. So similarly, although you may not be able to see, you may not be able to be qualified to see the hand of God. But Krishna is there, God is there. So creation implies creator. If there is a creation, there is a creator. Is this common sense logic suitable? And then laws imply a lawmaker. In India, which side of the road do you drive?
Left side.
Left side. If you go to Europe, which side of the road you have to drive? Right side. These are laws. Did these laws come on its own? Somebody has made the law. Income tax slab rates, did they come on its own? Somebody has made it. The traffic rules, the traffic laws, someone has made it. Yes, did it come on its own? So whenever you see a law, that implies that there is a lawmaker. So there are various laws of material nature. The laws of optics, when you reflection, when you put a spoon in a glass, the spoon also looks crooked. The laws of mechanics, the trajectory. It can be mathematically verified also, these laws. Correct? That means someone has made it. Can it come on its own? So laws imply a lawmaker. If there is a law made that today no one can come out of your house, curfew, that means somebody has made the law. Makes sense? So there are so many laws of material nature. Laws of thermodynamics, laws of kinetics, laws of transfer of energy. That means someone has made these laws. Makes sense? Common sense. Organization implies an organizer. If you very carefully see the nature around you, there is a very strong organization. The giraffe. It has the longest neck. Its heart is of 11 kg. And the heart is 2 feet long. And every giraffe has this. That means somebody has organized it. Hummingbird. It flies 1,000 miles every year. You must be thinking, what's the big deal? 75 times it flaps its wing per second. 75 wing flaps in 1 second. Point to be noted, it is of just 3 grams. A bird of 3 grams, 75 flaps per second, traveling 1,000 miles a year. Do you think somebody has made this organization or it came on its own? Somebody has organized it. Camel. It can live without water for 8 days. When it travels in the desert, there are many storms coming. So its eyelids are transparent. And it can store up to 130 liters of water in its hump. And it will bring out the water every time which is needed and it can drink it. And stay without water for 8 days. Do you think somebody has organized this so that the camel can lead a peaceful life? Considering the fact that the camel is meant to be in the desert. Make sense? Any disagreement, any challenge, if it is there, you can ask. I'm just presenting common sense to you. If there is a creation, there is a creator. If there is a law, there is a lawmaker. If there is an organization, there is an organizer. For example, this Gita course is being organized. Some people send you messages to come. Some people call you. You come here, prasadam is arranged. You know, somehow we are able to start the television. So this is organization. That means there is an organizer, right? There is an organization team. Without the team, can you organize the Gita course? So if there is an organization, that means there is an organizer. Similarly, there are various designs which are there in the material. If there is a design, that means there is a design. The Earth is very carefully placed in its orbit at 23.5 degrees, because of which so many seasons are coming in chronology. Has anyone here seen that in one year summer came before winter and next year winter came after summer? Some of you are 40 plus, 50 plus. Have you ever seen that the order of the seasons has changed? I'm asking some basic questions. Just to send one polar satellite launch vehicle from ISRO, it requires a team of 400, 500 scientists. Great hard work is put in. How is it possible to believe that the entire universe is functioning on its own without a higher authority who is looking after the design and the implementation of that design? If one single Chandrayaan requires 400 scientists, just imagine how much will be needed to maintain the solar system. So design implies a design. There are various galaxies. There is a very nice incident. In the 1960s, two scientists, I have not brought the name of the scientists yet. After 11 years of hard work, they synthesized one B12 molecule. And at that time, it was told that it is the greatest synthesis made by the human mind. Now, in the nature, there are trillions and quadrillions of B12 molecules. Who made that? The scientists cannot make anything on their own. They have to observe the nature and try to copy it. Who made that? So design implies a designer. And everything has a purpose. You see, whatever design you see around you, it has a purpose. Nothing is a waste of time. The camel having transparent eyelids, the hummingbird flapping its wing, the earth being situated at 3.5 degrees galaxy inclination. Everything has a purpose. Nothing is a waste of time. Have you ever seen a machine which has no purpose, like your watch or your mobile or that fan? It has no. Have you ever seen? Similarly, this universe also has a purpose. So therefore, these are the common sense, universal reasoning to understand that God exists. Let's do a quick revision. What are the reasons why people believe in God? Desires, unknown fears, social pressure, traditions and rituals. Which category you belong to? Okay, don't say. What are the scientific proofs that God exists? Common sense, scientific proof. Creation means that there is a creator. Laws means there is a law. If there is some kind of organization, that means there is a person who is organizing it. Design. If there is a very beautiful design which has a purpose, that means somebody has designed it. Now, this is the scientific common sense proofs. It's self-evident. Nobody can argue against it also. Until unless you are very biased. If you are very biased, you will not. But if you are unbiased, you will. Now let me give you some proof from the Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes people ask, who made God? And when was God made? These are some challenges in the path of accepting God. Who made God? When was God created? All these kind of questions. This is because of we have a very material analytical mind. In this material world, everything has a point, has a creator. Creation implies a creator. But God is that personality who creates everything. No one creates God. This is against our understanding. But that's the reality. Even if you cannot see God, you can see the hand of God. In fact, God's creation is so wonderful that it appears almost automatic. For example, you see, I am wearing a Tulsi kanthi mala. Are you able to see this? What is holding the kanthi mala together? Can you see the thread? And how did you say that thread exists? Cause and effect. Someone has to hold. Otherwise, how can it be together? So if you want to understand the existence of God, you can do this cause and effect analysis. You can understand that the unseen is perceived by the seen. Like design implies a design. You are seeing the design, so you can understand that there is a design. Even if you cannot see the design, but you can understand. So therefore, let's see from Bhagavad Gita. Please repeat. Mattah parataram nanya kinchidaste dhananjaya mahi sarvam vidam protam sutre manigana iva. Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 shloka number 7, Krishna says, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to thee. Now, how many of you think Krishna was on drugs when he made this statement? He is told wrong. All of you believe, right, that there is no truth superior to Krishna. Because Krishna is saying it. And then he says, everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Just like pearls. Now, a beautiful necklace has some pearls in it, a pendant in it. So when you see the beautiful necklace, the beauty of the necklace is that the thread is not visible. Correct? If the thread is visible, that means it will look dirty. So the beauty of God's creation is we have to understand that everything rests upon the energy of God. In one of the verses, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhava samanvitaha. O Arjuna, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds, and everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly understand this, they worship me and serve me with all their hearts. So the criteria which is needed to understand God is purity of mind and heart. When we serve God, we cannot do anything to understand God. When we serve Him with purity of heart and mind, God will reveal Himself to us. Make sense? Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, Param Dhamam Param Brahma Param Dhamam Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Madhavyam. Parabrahma, you are beyond all the truths, the highest possible truth. Param Dhama, you are the supreme abode. Once somebody attends your lotus feet, you never come back to this material. Pavitram, you are the purest person in the whole creation. Now, if you want to approach fire, you have to become fire. If you have an earthly body, like people in the sun planet, by the way, according to Vedic literature, there are people everywhere. Krishna talks about it in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, shloka number 1. He says how he first gave this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to Vivaswan, the presiding deity of the sun planet. Vivaswan gave it to Manu, Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku, in the family of Ikshvaku, Lord Ram was born. He also studied the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is not 5,000 years old. It is crores of years old. So if you want to approach fire, the difference in the body of the people on earth and body of the people of sun planet is that on earth, the bodily composition is earthly. In sun planet, the bodily composition is fire. Further proof is that one of the persons from sun planet, Vivaswan, came and made Kunti pregnant. And she gave birth to Karna. What more proof you want? That means people exist on the sun. So if you want to approach fire, you have to be fire. Agreed? So if you want to approach Krishna, Pavitram, the purest person, you also have to become pure. You should have a pure mind and pure. A mind free of lust, anger, greed, illusion, enviousness, and attachments. Because Krishna does not have these things in his heart or mind. He is free of lust, he is free of anger, he is free of greed, free of all illusions, free of all enviousness, and he is free of all attachments. In order to approach him, you need to become that. So by serving Krishna, you will get those qualities. By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, you will get those qualities. Now some people say, God has no form. I'm just presenting various counter arguments. They say God has no form. He is just like some light. Some people say God is light. So my question to them is that which light? Is God neon light, or helium light, or lantern light, or tube light? However, Brahma, the first living entity of this universe, who has done the entire secondary creation, not the primary. When this universe was created, he wrote this verse from Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita has 100 chapters. I am quoting the first verse of the 5th chapter of Brahma Samhita. Please repeat it. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. This Brahma Samhita is so wonderful, let me tell you. Due to passage of time, 99 chapters of this Brahma Samhita is lost. Only one chapter is available. But if you read this one single chapter, the 5th chapter, you will need tears to understand how great God is. Now, there are some religions who say God is great, but the Vedic literature tells you how God is great and how much great is He. You see, Ishvara Paramaha Krishna. There are many controllers. Ishvara means controller. But the supreme controller is Krishna. Some people think that Krishna avatar happened after Rama avatar. No. All the avatars are eternal. Even when Krishna had not descended into this material world, Brahma is glorifying Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Amongst all controllers, the supreme controller is Krishna. He has a form, Vigraha. Vigraha means what? If I say in our temple we worship a Vigraha, means what? A deity. A form. But how is that form? Is it like your form? No. It is Satchidananda. A form which is full of bliss, full of knowledge, and a form which is spiritually eternal. Your form is Asat, Achit, and Nirana. Your form is full of miseries, like I have a miserable day today, having high fever. And I am not an eternal person. I will die one. And I don't have all knowledge. Limited knowledge. But Krishna's form is Satchidananda Vita. Full knowledge, complete bliss, spiritually eternal form. Spiritual form. and his name is Govinda. Now, some people say, when was God created? The answer is here. Let's read the translation. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme God. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body, Satchidananda. He is the origin of all, Anadir. He has no other origin, Adir. Sarva Karana Karana. He is the prime cause of all causes. Your cause is your father. Your father's cause is your grandfather. Your grandfather's cause is your great grandfather. Like this, if you go finding the ultimate cause, one day you will reach Krishna. Sarva Karana Karana. Are you able to understand this? I am not saying this. I gave you scientific evidence, now I am giving you Vedic evidence. My only request here is that after this session there should be a strong faith in the hearts of people that God exists. He has a name, He has some qualities, He has some pastimes, He has a form, He has likes, He has dislikes. He feels good sometimes, He feels bad sometimes. And my job is to serve. God has a name, form, qualities and pastimes, and He has feelings also. And my job is to serve Him. That is my end result of today's session. Now, I will present one argument which will make you laugh. Big brain or Big Bang? Please listen to the definition of Big Bang theory. I am quoting from the Wikipedia. What is the definition of Big Bang theory? Listen to this. Now, science means experiment, observation, and conclusion. Science means experiment, observation, and conclusion. But listen to the definition of Big Bang theory. According to Big Bang theory, everything began from a point of infinite temperature, infinite density, infinitely small size, a point that is physically unrealizable, mathematically indescribable, beyond all conception of space and time. This is Big Bang theory. Is this not blind faith? Is this not blind faith? You tell me. All colleges and universities are teaching this, but is this not blind faith? On what basis have people accepted this theory? Just see the terms. Infinite temperature, infinite density, infinitely small size. It is physically unrealizable. There is no laws around it. You cannot make equations. You cannot solve problems. It is mathematically indescribable also. And it is beyond all conceptions of space and time. There is space and there is time in which we count everything. It is beyond that also. And people have accepted it. Instead of believing that God has made this world, people believe this theory. This is demoniac nature in the hearts of people. If somebody says that this universe was created from the toilet of a rabbit, people will believe that also. But they will not believe that Krishna made or God made. Because they want some way in which they can, some reason. They want some escape from serving God. And now I am quoting from Encyclopedia, Britannica Encyclopedia. The Britannica Encyclopedia says it should be emphasized that no theory of the origin of solar system has as yet won the general acceptance. All involve highly improbable assumptions. We are studying this Big Bang theory. We are watching TV series on this Big Bang theory. But the scientific community only doesn't exist, accept it. Now, there is another scientific theory which has boggled our minds since school days. That is Charles Darwin's theory. Which says man came from monkeys. Once I went to a place called Devaghar. It's in Jharkhand. One of the Jyotirlingas are there. They asked me from which part, which part of India. I said I am from this part. So they said that there is a particular panda, particular Pujari, who's from that part, and anybody who comes from that part, they have to go to that place. I said, very nice organization. So I went to him and he opened a big notebook. And in that he showed me that I have come today from my village, from my family, how when my father had come, when my grandfather had come, how much money they had donated, what seva they had done. I could trace out the ancestral history of my family up to 1000 years. But I never saw anybody was a monkey in that 1000 years. This is crazy. If man came from monkeys, all the monkeys should have become extinct. Or at least one case we should have seen where how a monkey is giving birth to a man. Has anybody seen? Like your grandfather was a monkey. But people read this, people believe this, they talk about this, and they base their whole philosophy on this. Charles Darwin's theory. So therefore, I'd like to invite you for an exercise. Take out your books, page number 55 to 57 of the JOST book. It talks about the scientific fallacies of the Darwin's theory of evolution, given by various other scientists. Just try to read this 3 pages, take 10 minutes time, and then you have to say 1 point from what you read. How many? 1 point you have to say. What you read and what you understand. There will be no quiz like last time. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Please tell me 1 point which amused you or which you liked. Yes. You can open the book and see.
Except for the giraffe, what they have mentioned, Darwin's theory, they are saying that giraffe wanted to survive so that the medium neck and short neck giraffe, over the period, their necks has been grown to eat the grass in the top, the trees, all these things. But there is no fossil proof to show that. The fossil proofs are always the long neck giraffe lived along with the other.
Yes, thank you. No proof. Maybe he was just sitting in his room and he was imagining and he wrote the theory. And all universities and schools and colleges have picked it up. This is because of the demonic nature. Any other thing which you would like to highlight?
Fish and reptiles.
Fish and reptiles. What about fish and reptiles?
They said for the first time fish came out of the water and they jumped for two steps. And
That is his theory, by the way.
Yeah, that's his theory.
He writes like that. That
Yeah.
a fish came out, walked for 2 minutes, jumped back.
Next time,
He walked for 4
little
minutes.
more, and then reptiles.
Land animals came.
Yeah, land animals.
Yes. Anything else?
Darwin.
Yes.
The theory fails to explain how one species transforms into another. He talks about getting new updates on the same species. It doesn't change to a new species.
Correct. Man can evolve. Monkey can evolve. Monkey can never become human. Any other point? Yes.
It fails to explain how the vegetation, the plants evolved. They are all talking about the animals, but nothing about the plants. Because these are the living beings also.
Yes.
Whatever the theories or points mentioned in these 3 pages, there is no foolproof reason or it is just assumptions or critique.
How many of you read the bear and the whale theory? Tell me. Just before you tell it, I just warn everybody, don't start rolling on the floor laughing. Yes, tell the bear theory.
The bear theory says the bear came and then it started eating some insects in the
With its mouth open.
with its mouth open, and slowly it started eating away.
Just listen. In a lake in North America, there is a bear which has opened its mouth. you find some insects. Now, because the bear continued to eat insects for a long time, so it became a whale. And this idiotic theory is being taught in schools and colleges. Charles Darwin's theory. So that's why I wanted to expose all this to you in today's session. The Big Bang theory and the Charles Darwin's theory. Survival of the fittest theory. It's all bogus. Only those whom God wants can survive. The fittest can go to hell. In the Mahabharata war, who was more powerful than Bhishma? Nobody. But Krishna didn't want him to survive. So the survival of the fittest theory fails. Anyways, next topic. We have, as you see, we have 3 more topics to discuss. So we'll move a little fast. Definition of God. Okay. 6 misconceptions. God is light, God is nature, God is dead, everyone is God, rituals are God, God is imagination. God is light. Do I need to explain this? There is no light here, so God is not here. God is nature. Aham bij pradapita. Krishna says that I am the seed giving Father. By the association with Krishna, nature produces 84 lakh species of life. There is in the science of logic, there is a logic called as Vrishchik Tadbula Nyaya. I'm going to tell you that. There is a huge heap of rice in which one scorpion went and laid eggs. And after that, the scorpion came out. The scorpions like to be around grass. So if you have a huge rice storage, you might find some scorpions there. And after some time, hundreds of scorpions came out of the rice stalk. People who were seeing it, they felt, oh, scorpions come from rice. But who is the source of the scorpions coming from the rice? Another scorpion. So similarly, when you will see nature around you, it will appear that everything is coming from the nature. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva yoneshu kaunteya aham bijpara. I am the seed-giving father of not just the humans, but all 84 lakh species of life. Not just the Indians, but all the people in this universe. Krishna never said I am an Indian god or Hindu god. He said, Sarva yoneshu kaunteya aham bijpara. 84 lakh species of life, I am the seed. Because of my mercy, because of my association, nature is able to produce 84 lakh species. So God is not nature. Nature is an associate of God. Everything comes from God. Some people say God is dead. Because there is so much suffering in this world. So therefore, if God would have been there, He must have done something to reduce the suffering. But nothing is happening, so God is dead. The people who said that God is dead, they are dead. Everyone is God. I have so much lust, anger, and greed in my heart, and I'm God. I'm going through the cycle of birth, disease, old age, and death, and I'm God. I cannot control my own bowel movement, but I'm claiming to be God. God is not such a cheap thing. If there is God, He will do some things which will put Him in the category of God. All those people who are saying that I am God, ask them to lift the golden hill. No, that I can. But I am God. Ask them to show the Vishwarup. Oh, sorry, I cannot do that. But I am God. This is nonsense. God means you should have some characteristics like God. No? Actually, the fact is, people are just being illusioned. Sometimes some so-called schools of philosophy, they say we are all God because we have forgotten that we are God. That's why we are not able to act like God. That means the power which makes you forget you are God, assume. The power which makes God forget that He is God is greater than God. Maya. Maya is more powerful than God. That means. But we have never read like that. Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sarcharam. Krishna says, under my supreme guidance, the laws of material nature work. Krishna is Mayapati, not Mayadas. Maya Shakti is subservient to Shakti. So therefore, not everybody can be. We are all part and parcels of God, but we are not God. Some people say rituals are God. They become so much absorbed in performing some rituals, they forget the purpose why they are performing those rituals. And they say, this is God. Doing these rituals nicely is God. Various examples are there in the Vedic literature. Once these Brahmins of Mathura, they were performing some yajna and they were offering everything to God. Krishna and Balaram actually sent some friends there and they said that we are hungry, give us something to eat. These Brahmins, they said, come after the rituals are over. The whole purpose of your yajna is to offer everything to God. When God is personally coming, you are showing him rituals. So rituals are over. And God is an imagination. This I don't want to discuss. This is like the worst thing. God is an imagination. I have imagined God. So what is the definition of God? First I will give the universal logical definition. And then I will give the Shastric references. So God is supreme controller, supreme enjoyer, and supreme owner. Once there was a young man in a village. He wanted to serve the greatest person. So he went to the sarpanch of the village and started serving. One day, the talukdar of that village came and he saw that the sarpanch is reporting to him. So he changed. He said, I will not serve the sarpanch, I will serve the talukdar. Later on, the district magistrate came. He saw talukdar was reporting to him. So he said, I will no longer serve the talukdar, I will serve the district magistrate. And one day the chief minister came. So he said, now I will serve the chief minister. I will become the personal assistant of the chief minister. In one of the festivals, all this chief minister, district magistrate, talukdar, sarpanch and all the other villages, they came to the temple. It was Janmashtami festival. And there this person saw that all of them are bowing down in front of Krishna. So then he understood that the greatest person is God. So therefore I should serve. So God is the supreme controller. He is the supreme enjoyer also. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bhavanam yuvidhatikam. We are eternal as part and parcels of God. Krishna is eternal. We have a consciousness, Krishna has a super consciousness. But we are maintained by Krishna and Krishna doesn't need our help to maintain himself. That is Shastra. Take the example of a restaurant. The restaurant owner is not dependent on the restaurant workers to enjoy. However, the restaurant workers, they depend on the restaurant owner. So there are always some independent enjoyers and there are some dependent enjoyers. The great thing about God is He shares His loving grace with His devotees in such a way that His devotees, they enjoy more than Him. I repeat, the devotees of Krishna, they enjoy more than Krishna. This can be proved by various citations from Vedic literature. So if somebody is serving God, they will enjoy happiness greater than God. Krishna says, Mat puja, what is the verse? Mat puja dhivika. Mat puja dhivika. One day one person came to Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, and he said that I want to become God. Can you make me God? So Srila Prabhupada said, I will make you greater than God. How? I will make you a devotee of God. And Krishna says that my devotee is greater than me. That is the mood of Krishna. He once told to Durvasa Rishi, Aham bhakta paradhino na swatantra ivat vijana sadhavir grasta hridayam bhaktar bhakta. My dear Durvasa, I am completely subordinate to my devotees. Aham bhakta paradhino na swatantra ivat vijana. I have no freedom. Sadhavir grasta hridayam. These sadhus who have given up everything other than my worship, they have locked me in the prison of their heart. What to speak of my devotees, those who are the devotees of my devotees, they are also very dear to me. Bhakta bhakta jana. So the position of devotee is greater than you. But you should not become proud. It is God's greatness who awards this position to his devotees. And he is the supreme owner. Once there was this Akbar Birbal. Do you like hearing stories or should I stop telling stories? No? Stories अच्छा समझ में आता है. Once there was Akbar Birbal. In his court, everybody was praising Akbar. You are the greatest emperor. You have the biggest kingdom on this whole planet. The history has never seen a ruler like you. Birbal was silent. So Akbar asked Birbal, why are you silent? You also say something. Birbal said that, my dear Akbar, you are greater than God. Akbar became angry. He was a God believer. He said, what are you saying? This is nonsense. Can you explain how you said that? Birbal said, see, if you don't like someone, my dear Akbar, you can throw him out of your kingdom. But God's kingdom is the entire creation, the entire cosmos. He cannot throw anybody out of his kingdom. Because wherever you go, it is God's kingdom. So therefore, you are greater than God. So Akbar became very humble. And he realized that he owns a small piece of land for a very short time. But God owns everything eternally. So he is the supreme controller, supreme enjoyer, supreme owner. Did you understand this? The same thing is there in the Bhagavad Gita also.
Prabhu, can you explain once again?
Sorry?
Can you explain once again?
What do you want to explain?
Why people said that to Akbar?
Birbal said to Akbar that you are greater than God because if you don't like someone, you can throw him out of your kingdom. But God's kingdom is everywhere. He cannot throw out anybody. So this made Akbar very humble. He asked everybody, stop praising me. I just own this kingdom for a small time. But God owns everything eternally. So he is the supreme owner. Okay. Why so late? Who was responsible for this?
Viraj Prabhu is coordinating.
Huh?
Viraj Prabhu is coordinating.
Okay. Please recite this verse which talks about the supreme CEO in Prabhupada. Bhokta Ram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutana Gyatva Mam Shanti Vrichyati. We call this as the peace formula for Bhagavad Gita 5.29. If anybody wants peace in life, you should study this verse. It says, a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. That That means whatever activities you do to please Krishna, whatever tapasya you do to please, the results belong to Krishna. He is the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods. Sarvalok Maheshwara. He is the boss of everybody, basically. Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. He is my benefactor and well-wisher. Not just mine, but everybody's. Sarvabhutanam. Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. If somebody understands this, they attain peace from the pangs of material disease. I have a friend who is also the friend of others, who is the owner of everything, who is the master of everybody, and he is my best well-wisher. When you meditate on this in the core of your heart, don't you feel very relaxed? You have a friend in your life who can, he's not an ordinary friend. Sarvalok Maheshwara. Bhoktaram Yajnatasam. So anybody who understands this, that whatever I do, it belongs to Krishna. Krishna is the supreme master of everybody. And this supreme master and this supreme enjoyer is my best well-wishing friend. This will give you peace. So the point which we are trying to highlight here in the definition of God is everybody should connect with Krishna. Everybody should connect with God. Now I'll give you a much more accurate definition of God. This is not from the Bhagavad Gita. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashashah shriyah jnana vairagyayoschaiva sannam bhagaitingana. Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is thus defined by Parashar Muni. This is from Vishnu Purana. One who is full in 6 opulences. Who is Bhagwan? One who has full strength, full fame, full wealth, full knowledge, full beauty, and full renunciation. That means the strongest person, the most strong person, the most famous person, the most rich person, the most knowledged person, the most beautiful person, and the most renounced person is God. When you hear this description, what name comes in your mind? Raise your hand and answer. Who is God? Yes.
Krishna, because the word Krishna means all attractive. And one is not all attractive unless he possesses all these qualities.
Correct. Any other answer? He says Krishna is God. Any other answer? Feel free to answer. Today's discussion is very morose, I feel. Any other answer, name which comes to your mind? Most strong, most famous, most rich. Regarding riches, one can say Bill Clinton is God. He's very rich. Mukesh Ambani is God. Very rich. But can he claim that I have all the riches in the world? Mukesh Ambani? Krishna can claim that. He is Lakshmipati. He has full wealth. People are thinking that this wealth is mine. But actually it belongs to God. So therefore wealth should be used in the service of God. Those people who only want to keep the wealth with them, who only want to worship Lakshmi without Narayana, this is Ravana mentality. And I will keep all the money with me, and keep Sita with me, and I will not serve Ram. That is not good. Lakshmi is called Chanchala. She is very Chanchala. She will not remain with you. You may have, but your next generation may be poor. And Krishna's name is Chanchala Pati. The only place where Lakshmi loses her Chanchala nature is Krishna's lotus feet. She eternally resides. So this is God. Definition of Aishwaryasya Samagrasya. Vedyasya Yashasham Shriyam Jnana Vairagyoscheva Sannam. Now, I would like to have two more discussions. How to seek perfect knowledge about God. And is accepting scriptures blind faith? These two discussions are pending. Seeking perfect knowledge about God. Three ways. Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman, and Shabda Praman. Scientific observations, speculations and theories, and superior authority. This is the most important part of today's presentation, so please take maximum attention. Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman, and Shabda Praman. These are the three ways in which you can approach God. Pratyaksha Praman means that which you can perceive with your senses. Aakho dekhi. What you can see and what you can perceive is Pratyaksha Praman. Anuman Praman means guesswork. You are guessing. This could have been, this could be the case, that could be the case. And Shabda Praman means accepting knowledge from a superior authority. So we'll analyze now which is the most perfect way to understand about God. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
Okay. See, I'm sick, but you people look more sick than me. There's no enthusiasm. 4 limitations to Pratyaksha Praman. Imperfect senses, illusions, committing mistakes, and cheating. Our senses have these 4 defects. Our senses are imperfect. If you eat something sweet and after that if you eat orange, the orange will appear bitter. But if you eat something bitter and then you eat orange, the orange will appear sweet. This is called imperfect senses. The spoon dipped in a glass appears clear. Imperfect senses. Illusions. We all have some illusions. We don't know what is the reality in many cases. And there is a tendency of committing mistakes. And because we are committing mistakes, how many of you don't commit mistakes? Please raise your hand. Everybody makes mistakes. And because we are making those mistakes, so we will cheat by hiding our mistakes. I've written down the example of Piltdown Man hoax. So it so happened that in the 1912, they found a jaw in which the lower half was not there. So the scientists or the archaeologists, they were so desperate to gain money from the government and make their name famous. And they were so desperate to prove the Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. What they did, they took plaster of Paris and they made the lower half of the skull in the shape of a monkey's jaw. In 1953, this skull, it is very nicely kept in the British Museum. In 1953, someone thought, let me examine this skull. They did carbon dating of that skull. The upper half was thousands of years old, the lower half was just 10-20 years old. So then the fraud was revealed. The whole, this, you can Google it, Piltdown Man. All these horrible things, cheating propensity is there. Cheating propensity. So if we have imperfect senses, we commit mistakes also. The diameter of this universe has changed in the scientific community 9 times in the last 50 years. And every time they are saying that the previous value was wrong and this value is more accurate. That means the previous scientists were in ignorance than compared to the present scientists. And when we ask the present scientists that is it possible that in future someone may give a more accurate value? Yes, they say. That means the present scientists are also in ignorance. So they all commit mistakes. Now that value is already written in Padma Purana, diameter of the universe. Why don't you save time? Take it from there. No, that. I'll believe Wikipedia, but I will not believe the Puranas. I'll believe Quora. I'll believe WhatsApp, but I will not believe Bhagavad Gita. That is the demoniac nature which is there in our hearts. And with this Pratyaksha Praman, with this imperfect senses, illusions, tendency to commit mistakes, and then we cheat to hide our mistakes. With these basic defects, we cannot arrive at the supreme absolute truth using Pratyaksha Praman. Do you all agree with me? Yeah. That you cannot arrive at the supreme absolute truth, that is God, using Pratyaksha Praman. Agreed?
Yes.
Let's examine what happened. Anuman Praman. It requires guesswork. What are the fallacies or what are the mistakes with Anuman Praman? We are highlighting guesswork, diagnosis errors, and partial truth. Guesswork. Once this happened with me only. Behind the doors, one couple was practicing drama. And in that drama script, they were fighting with each other. When I heard from outside, I thought, oh, serious fight going on. I should maybe try to help them. I had a complete misunderstanding. The next day when I saw the drama, I understood that they were not fighting, they were practicing the script. So guesswork is always wrong, most of the times. You cannot claim that you have seen the right truth. See, you are hearing the sound of children and some teachers from outside. You'll make a guesswork that a class is going on there. But if you go inside, you may be surprised to see that only a TV is being played. There are no children and no teachers. This can happen. But hearing from outside, you'll feel class is going on. So guesswork doesn't help. Diagnosis errors. Once there were three kinds of doctors: a neurosurgeon, a muscle specialist, and a bone specialist. They saw a man who was limping and walking. The neurosurgeon said there's some serious nerve problem he has. That's why he's not able to walk. The orthopedician, he said, no, he has a bone injury. That's why I can guarantee you and prove it. And the muscle specialist said, no, he has fibromyalgia. He has stiff muscles. That's why he's walking. But when the man came close, all the three, they saw his chappal was broken. There are so many errors in our diagnosis. We may analyze something, but it may be completely wrong because our diagnosis is based on assumptions. And lastly, this partial truth. We can only understand partial truth by Anuman. Do I need to explain this elephant example? Huh? Or all of you know it? Who can explain it to me? Elephant example. See the picture and explain. There were 6 blind men trying to understand how the elephant is. All these 6 blind men were touching different parts of the elephant's body. And they came to 6 different conclusions how the elephant is. Have you heard this before? Yes. So the person who's touching the body of the elephant told that the elephant is like a wall. The person touching the tusk is telling the elephant is like a arrow. The person touching the trunk told the elephant is like a snake. Person touching the ears told that the elephant is like an axe, flexible axe. Person touching the leg told the elephant is like the tree of a trunk. And person touching the tail told the elephant is like a rope. Now, which of them is correct? Only a person who has full vision can tell. So in Anuman Praman, these defects will be there. So do you agree that by Pratyaksha Praman and by Anuman Praman, you cannot arrive at the supreme absolute truth? Do you agree? Any doubts, any challenges? I need to finish fast because my energy is collapsing. I was having high fever yesterday. So, Shabda Praman. Word coming from superior authorities. Advantages are that it has a starting point and it saves time and energy. For example, when you start driving towards this center, you will first set it on your Google Map. Correct? You'd like to use some starting point. You can't just imagine where is this center and start driving. You need some guidance. You need some starting point to start from. So the Shastra or the scriptures are our starting point. And it saves time and energy. If I want to know who is my father, whom I have to ask? I have to ask my mother. She is the perfect authority to tell me who is my father. Makes sense? Now if I say I will not ask my mother, there are 3.5 billion males on this planet. I will do a DNA test of everybody. It will take 1800 years to do this test with inaccuracies involved. It's not possible. So, our approach in understanding God is that we take knowledge from Krishna. Krishna's senses are not imperfect. He is not an illusion. He doesn't commit mistake. He doesn't cheat. He doesn't do guesswork. He does not have diagnosis errors. And he doesn't tell us the partial truth. We are not perfect. But the source from which we are taking information is a perfect source. I repeat, we are not perfect. But our source of knowledge is perfect. Therefore, our knowledge is perfect. Does it make sense? In fact, all this Vedic literature, they come from God. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranam. Especially this Bhagavad Gita. It's coming directly from Krishna. So such literatures are called as apaurushaya, not coming from human beings, they are coming from God. And someone may say, oh, someone may misinterpret. So therefore we have Bhagavad Gita as it is, you see, the name is as it is. No mirch masala, no I think, I feel, in my opinion, according to me, illa. The way Arjuna understood it from Krishna, that understanding has been preserved through the line of guru-disciple succession. So therefore, in ISKCON, every preacher is called as a patri or a postman. Suppose if you get a letter and if you ask the postman to read, will he change the contents and read it to you? Just read the letter. So similarly, we as preachers, we cannot change the content of the Bhagavad Gita. Present it as it is. No, I think, I feel, in my opinion, according to me. So therefore, if we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is the qualification to know God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. See what Krishna says. Jnanam teham sa vijnanam idam bhakshyami asheshatah yad gyatva neha bhuyo yaj gyatvayam avashishyate. Krishna says, I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and luminous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Only a man who has complete knowledge can speak like this. Only a person who has complete knowledge can speak like this. Sometimes I use the word man. Krishna is not man, Krishna is God. In fact, only God can speak like this. That I will explain you something now, my dear Arjuna. If you know this, there is nothing more left for you to know. That means the summary of all knowledge is there in these 700 verses. If you study these 700 verses, there is nothing more which you need to know. Everything is known. Who is saying this? How many of you think Krishna was on drugs when he made this statement? Do you believe in Krishna?
Yes.
So he's stating like this. And then he tells in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam praja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. Abandon all varieties of religions and just surrender unto me. I shall give you freedom from all sinful reactions. Do not worry. This is one of the last verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Just to tell this, Krishna spoke 18 chapters. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is this: Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam praja. Abandon all varieties of religions. Just surrender unto me. I am your best well wisher. I know how to take care of you. So now, question to you: what is the best way to seek perfect knowledge about God? Option A, Pratyaksha Praman. Option B, Anuman Praman. Option C, Shabda Praman. Option D, Wikipedia. Tell me.
Option C.
Option C, Shabda Praman. Correct? Why Shabda Praman is the best way to get knowledge?
Starting point.
Yeah, it has a starting point and
Time and energy.
saves time and energy. The most important point is we are accepting knowledge from a perfect source. Did you understand this? We are all accepting knowledge from a perfect source. We are not perfect, but our knowledge is perfect. Last section of today is accepting scriptures blind faith. Many people say you are believing in Bhagavad Gita. This is blind faith. I am believing in Big Bang Theory. That is not blind faith. But I am believing in Bhagavad Gita told by the most perfect Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is blind faith. So I tell you a conversation of a barber. Once when barber was cutting the hair, shaving the face. And while shaving the man, he made a comment. God does not exist. The man asked, why do you say so? He said that God does not exist because see, there is so much suffering in this world. If God existed, he would have done something for this suffering. Therefore, God doesn't exist. The man, he kept quiet. After his shaving and haircut was done, he paid the barber and he said, barbers don't exist. So the barber started laughing. He said, why did you say that? I just now cut your hair and shaved beard. How can you say that barbers don't exist? He said that see, just outside your shop, there is a man who has very long hair and dirty beard. Simply by looking at him, I can say barbers don't exist. The barber said, no, barbers do exist. And the man argued, then why he has such a long hair and big beard? Dirty. So the barber said, see, he has to come to me. Then only I can help him. If he doesn't come to me, then I cannot help him. And then he cannot say that barbers don't exist. Similarly, we have to go to God. We have to go to Krishna. Without going to him, without following his instructions, we can't say that God doesn't exist. Now I'll give you some proof of the Vedas. Manual, axiomatic truth and predictions. Manual. When you purchase a washing machine, how many of you have a washing machine in your house? Please raise your hand. So when you purchase a washing machine, you get a manual which will tell you how to use, what is the wattage and the current supply. If you follow the manual, you will not hurt yourself. You will not hurt the machine. This is self-evident. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is the manual of our life. It talks about how to work, how much to work, how to eat, how much to eat, when to sleep, when not to sleep, how to control the mind. So when somebody applies the Bhagavad Gita in their life, they experience transformation. In Hindi they say, "Haath kangan ko aarsi kya." The proof of the pudding is in the eating. You apply the Bhagavad Gita in your life and you will experience transformation. The lust, anger and greed in your heart will reduce. You will become more disciplined. You will become a winner in life. You will achieve perfection in whatever you do. This is the biggest proof of the Vedic literature. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshvagamam Dharmam Susukham Kartumopi. 9th chapter. Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam. This is the king of all knowledge and this is the most secret. Pavitram Idamuttamam. This is the purest knowledge and no knowledge is better than this. Pratyakshvagamam Dharmam. Why? Because you can experience this knowledge by practical realization. Susukham kartum. And if you apply this Bhagavad Gita in your life, you will always be happy, singing and dancing and feasting. You will sing Hare Krishna, you will dance at the tune of Hare Krishna, and you will eat Krishna Prasadam. Is that a bad life? How many of you, what was the last time you danced? Six months ago, 1 month ago, maybe the Ganesha. A devotee in ISKCON dances every day at 4:30 a.m. in the Mangal Aarti and they chant Hare Krishna in front of Radha and Krishna. Now, a person who is dancing daily, can you believe that he is not happy? You dance only in Ganesh Chaturthi, or maybe when you had a child, you danced. But if you apply Bhagavad Gita, daily you dance. And there are some axiomatic proofs. It is self-evident, it requires no proof. Axiomatic proof means point. A point, what is the definition of a point? It has no, it's an axiomatic truth. You cannot physically realize that point. It's just a concept. And you agree to it. For example, the number I, square root of -1. Can you plot it in the number table? No. But it is needed for you to make several calculations in calculus. So similarly, there are some axiomatic truths. Cow dung. The stool of a teacher is impure. The stool of a monkey is impure. But the stool of a cow is pure. This is axiomatic truth coming from the Vedas. This is known from ages. When I was a small child, I used to go to my village. In my house, they used to swab the floor with cow dung every morning. The best fuel is cow dung patty. The next best fuel is wood. The next best fuel is coal. The worst fuel is LPG gas. You make the food on cow dung, and you see the difference in energy which you. Now there is something called as cow pathi going on. simply they are paying 5,000 rupees to sleep next to a cow, hug the cow, smell the cow dung, eat the cow dung pellet. It is reducing BP, sugar, so many diseases. So this was known from ages. Very recently, everybody has come to know that this planet is a round object. But in our Puranas, which have been written at least 5,000 years ago, it has already been called as Bhugol. Plants have life. Jagdish Chandra Bose proved it 100 years ago. But it is already discussed in the Vedas. Human embryology. Since this ultrasound has come up, people are able to see what is the status of the baby and what the baby is going through. But in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, human embryology is explained in so much detail that probably science can never come up to that detail. What happens in the first day? What happens in the seventh day? The day on which eyes are formed, the day on which hands and legs are formed. Is there any instrument by which you can measure somebody's hunger? But the Vedic literature says on which day the baby starts feeling hungry. The Vedic literature tells what the baby is thinking when it is 7 months old. What is it thinking when it is 8 months old? Clearly this knowledge is coming from God. So like that, there are some material axioms, there are some spiritual axioms. That this material world is temporary and full of miseries. Last class we heard this. How many of you are getting late, by the way? Is it okay? I need 5 minutes to wrap up. Sorry, my speed is slow due to this condition. Permanent happiness comes by connecting with Krishna. This is a spiritual axiom. Everybody knows this. Self-evident. And we are not the body but the spirit soul. Everybody knows this. Self-evident. So axiomatic truth and the manual which we can apply and experience self-transformation. This is the proof of the Vedas. Now I'll give you a very strong proof which you cannot deny. Some predictions. The Srimad Bhagavatam and the other Vedic literature were written 5,243 years ago by Vedas. 5,200 years ago only Vedas has predicted that there will be somebody called as Lord Buddha. And I have given the verse number also. It has predicted Chanakya Pandit. Just imagine. It has predicted about Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chandragupta Maurya and Ashok have also been predicted in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Jesus Christ has been predicted in the Bhavishya Purana. Details are there. And Prophet Muhammad has also been predicted in Bhavishya. This is the beauty of our Vedic literature. It is beyond time and space. It is eternal. It does not need revision, and it can make solid predictions what are going to happen in the future. In fact, the Srimad Bhagavatam predicts that the lifespan of Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. Kali Yuga will last for 4,32,000 years, out of which 5,000 years are over. What will be the situation towards the end of Kali Yuga is also predicted. This is Shastra. So I believe that everybody has some good reason to believe in the Shastra. Correct? It is a manual. It contains axiomatic truths, which helps us to save time. And it has so many predictions which have come truthful. Which has come true. What is the reason for you to deny the Shastra? So therefore, accept the Bhagavad Gita, accept the Shastra in your life. Experience transformation and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. With this, I would like to conclude my discussion. we'd like to do group